Hello, and we are on lesson 12 today of our But Not Buddy literary argument assignment. So today we're going to work on completing a graphic organizer for your body paragraphs of your literary argument essay. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the Steve Jobs model essay that we looked at in a previous lesson. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to focus on body paragraph number 1, which is the second paragraph of this essay. So I will read it aloud as you read it to yourself. While remembering his Reed College days, Steve Jobs shared his first rule: you have to trust in something. He told graduates that each choice in our lives is a dot, and we should trust in those choices. He said it was more important than spending time worrying about how all the dots connect in the future. Jobs followed his rule to trust his gut and enrolled in a calligraphy college course that led to the typefaces and spacing used in computers today. Following the rule to trust in something helped Jobs thrive in life because he trusted in himself and didn't spend energy worrying about the future. So just take a moment, look at this paragraph, and answer the question, is this paragraph logical? Does the paragraph make sense? Think about it. Okay, so this paragraph is logical because the author tells you the rule, as well as how Jobs used the rule to help himself thrive. So I want to show you how the paragraph might look in a graphic organizer that you will use to write your own essays. And that's the one that I showed you at the beginning of class. So let's go ahead and look back at that. All right. So we have to, there are 3 parts to this, and they consider it a sandwich. So we're going to look at this piece. I want to read this paragraph to you that we're going to focus on to include in our graphic organizer. So, but before, let me go ahead and explain this graphic organizer. It's broken down into 3 parts. 3. Okay. First, you introduce the quote by telling your reader where it came from. Then you include the quote, which is here. And then finally, you explain how the quote supports your idea. That's the analysis. So you introduce the quote, you introduce the rule, and then your analysis, and that's your explanation. So we're going to look at a piece of paragraph 2. So let me reread the piece that we're going to look at, and then take a look back at this graphic organizer. It says, while remembering his Reed College days, Steve Jobs shared his first rule: you have to trust in something. Jobs followed his rule to trust his gut and enrolled in a calligraphy college course, and that led to the typefaces and spacing used in computers today. Following the rule to trust in something helped Jobs thrive in life because he trusted in himself and didn't spend energy worrying about the future. All right, so let's go ahead and complete this graphic organizer. So this is what we're going to call backwards planning, because here we already have our essay and we're just pulling information from the essay to include in the graphic organizer. When you do it, it's not backwards planning. This is your pre-planning, your pre-writing. So first we start by introducing the quote. So sorry. Let me quote that. So we're going to start while remembering, and we're just using the part that I just read. His Reed college days, Steve Jobs shared his first rule that you have to trust in something. Actually, we're going to move this to introduce the rule. I apologize. We're going to move this, and we're going to introduce the rule here. So we introduce a quote. This is how we're introducing a quote. While remembering his Reed college days, Steve Jobs shared his first rule that, and then we introduce the quote here, you have to trust in something. And then we have to analyze the rule. So remember that I'm pulling this information from the paragraph that already exists. So this is where you explain how the quote supports your claim. So here I'm going to write, Jobs followed his rule to trust his gut. He dropped out of college and enrolled in a calligraphy course that led to the typefaces and spacing in computers today. Following the rule to trust helped Steve Jobs thrive in life because he trusted himself and didn't spend energy worrying about the future. All right, so this is the analysis. So you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to kind of use your graphic organizer that you completed in a previous lesson to help complete your model sandwich graphic organizer. So how are you going to do this? So let me go ahead and copy this graphic organizer. One second. Go ahead and delete this information here. All right. Okay, so how do you apply this to your but not buddy literary argument? So I'm going to give you ways in which you can start and to develop your body paragraphs and include the information. So we'll start with introducing the quote. So I'm going to use some sample sentence starters just to kind of give you all a guide to how to begin your paragraphs. So we'll start with, I'm going to change the color so you can see this more easily. Let's use blue. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. All right. So in chapter, and whatever your chapter is of the novel, and then you'll put the name of the novel here. We are introduced to the rule. Actually, you should say to rule. And then whichever rule you choose to start with. So if you want to use rule 328, that's the rule that you fill in. But whatever rule that you select, that's what you will put here. As Bud So this part here where it says as Bud, you have to explain here what is happening, what is taking place when Bud introduces this rule in whatever chapter that you're reading. What is happening in the story? Bud recalls rule number blank that Let me make this a little bit more easier for you all. I apologize. We're going to make these 3 separate sentence starters. So what we can do, we can say in chapter blank of the novel, Bud Not Buddy, you can either say we are introduced to rule blank as Bud and then explain, or you can say in chapter blank of the novel Bud Not Buddy, Bud recalls rule number blank that, and then explain what the rule is. The second part of this, you're going to write the rule, and you're going to make sure that you punctuate it correctly. So Bud's rule number blank, and then you will write the rule. And then you will write the rule here. And then in the final piece, this is where you explain how the quote supports your claim. Here's a couple of sentence starters. You can say using rule number blank helps Bud blank. And this is information that should already be written in your previous graphic organizer. Or you can say, by not following a rule blank, Bud blank. So remember, you have to, in this analysis part, in this last piece, you have to make sure that you state whether or not this rule helps Bud to survive or to thrive. And you have to explain why. You have to give your reasoning behind why it helps Bud to survive or thrive. So take a moment, locate your graphic organizer so that you can begin filling in your graphic organizer with your Bud's rules for your body paragraph. So as you are writing, you should be able to explain how your evidence supports your claim in a logical way. So you have to make sure that what you are saying is logical. So for example, if you give me a rule, if your claim is Bud uses his rule to survive, but the rule that you select is more towards Bud thriving, that's not really logical. So make sure that your rules match up with surviving. And at any point, you can change the rules as you go along. This is just a draft. This is not your final piece. And then in addition, you should be able to select evidence that supports your claim from the story. So make sure that you back it up with something that is happening in the story. You have to use evidence from the text to back it up. So your assignment for today in Google Classroom, you will have this document here, but it will be made for each of your 3 body paragraphs. So there's a paragraph for each rule that you selected, and you will fill out your graphic organizer. And that is your assignment for today. If you have any questions about this assignment, I will be available for office hours at 8:20 this week. Miss Susanna will be available during the 12:20 hour due to I-STEP testing. So if you have any questions, just let one of us know, or you can make an appointment to come in to work with Miss Susanna or myself if I am available during that time. So for this document, you will need, let's go into your Google Classroom. All right, so for this document, you will go to your February 18th lesson, and there is the document that you began working on. This graphic organizer here. By now, your entire graphic organizer should be completed. In addition, if it's not complete, you need to complete this first before you continue working on the assignment. In addition, on your February 18th, also have Bud's rules. So you can go back and look at those rules. So remember, you are allowed to change these rules as you go along if you see something that's better, or you can change your claim also. So if you're seeing that most of the rules that you are selecting do not fit your claim, you can change your claim. So remember, this is just a draft, but by the time we finish your final draft, you should have a claim and solid evidence to support your claim. And here are a list of the rules with the chapters and page numbers as well. So good luck. Again, please reach out if you have any questions. You're going to work on developing your 3 body paragraphs.